Ellen, I just heard from you bits and pieces your story, and actually got to see you pretty early on there when the vertigo hit. So tell folks what happened.
Well, about a week ago, I was in traffic in the middle lane, and suddenly I was hit with vertigo that was the worst I've ever experienced. I've been dizzy a couple times, but this was just my whole world was spinning, and I was pretty frightened. I slammed my car into park. I put on my flashers and I called EMS and opened my car door and vomited all over the street. It was pretty embarrassing.
Everybody thought this woman is drunk.
Yeah, they honked at
Yeah.
me. And EMS came, they rushed me to the hospital, took a bunch of tests, everything was okay. I went home, stayed home from work the next day, mostly because I had so much of their drugs in me that I was still asleep. And,
So let me see, make sure I understand. They sent you home waiting for full diagnosis, thinking maybe you're well, but it's an uncertain thing. So the fear of that it would return suddenly is upon you.
yes,
Okay.
because they didn't say this is why this happened,
Okay.
and they just all the tests were good. Everything turned out fine.
So they ruled out bad stuff, but there still wasn't an answer to what
There was
caused
no
it.
answer. Yeah,
Okay.
no answer. So I'm terrified this is going to happen again. I didn't know I was terrified until I got in my car, and every time I stopped, I was extremely afraid, and I felt like I was going to teeter out. I never did, but
So it's like the fear was actually affecting your body to the point that
yes,
yeah.
the fear was taking over my body.
Okay.
Um, and I was praying, and it just went on that way and on that way for a week. I decided not to go to church Easter Sunday because I didn't want to drive across the river. There's nowhere to pull off over there. So I'm pretty frightened. It had been 1 week since the attack and
right.
since the vertigo. And I don't know, suddenly I said to myself, I'm going to go to church. So I got ready, dreading it the whole time. I got in my car, started driving, and it started happening again.
Oh.
Especially when I crossed the river, I was super panicked. I made it to St. Giles. That's funny. So I sat in the back at the edge of the pew, thinking I have an escape route if I need to, if this happens to me. And I was super panicked again, and I just prayed, and I was just like, God, not in church. This can't happen to me in church. And I heard him say, don't be afraid. There are angels around you. And it was so real to me. Like, you can have a thought and it's your own thought, but my spirit knew this was God. Using my faith, I said, God, I believe you, but can I see the angel? The strangest thing in my mind, not visually, with natural eyes, but in my mind, I saw this face. And it was beautiful and it was peaceful, is what I loved about it. And I instantly started crying. I got up, I left church, and I've been driving with confidence ever since.
Yay.
No fear whatsoever.
So to be continued on diagnosis with ears and balance and all, but the fear has been...
Fear's gone.
Well, thank you for sharing. It's kind of like you're sharing still in the middle of the story. So it's a privilege to hear what the Lord's up to with you.
Well, thank you.